to CEC District 28 July, my God, 2020 calendar meeting. We want to welcome all of you who have joined us virtually to be part of this conversation, to be part of this meeting, to bring your voices to us and to also hear back from us, your elected leaders in your community who you have chosen to represent. A lot of times your voices in places where maybe you can go or have a space to echo that voice. So we are happy to have all of you here today. We are happy to have so many of you week after week joining us through this platform. As we know, we had COVID-19, right? And then one of the things that happened that really I'm proud of is so many of you are able to join this meeting from the comfort of your homes. And we have so many voices and representation from all parts of the district. It's just amazing. It's just amazing to see so many of you who would not have ordinarily had a chance to come to the meeting because of whatever limitations, but you are here virtually. And this changes the whole conversation going forward now for us as a district. Let me fix my lighting here. As a district, we have to think about going forward, how do we create more equitable spaces for parents to get involved in community stuff. Andy, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. So before I continue, I'm just going to do a roll call really quickly, and then we'll jump into it. So when you hear your name, council members, can you just announce you're here? Barbara Williams?
Here.
Robert Tamayev?
Here.
Elena Amenova?
Here.
Andy Medes King?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Erica Cooper?
Present.
Ted Chang?
Here.
Michael Morrison?
Here.
Howard Pollock?
It's for CEC meeting.
I didn't hear you, Howard. You said something. Did you say here? Sorry.
Present. Present.
Thank you, Howard. And Vijay Ramjan is here. So community members, thank you all for being here. Again, once again, we would love to see your faces, but we'll ask you to please, please, please mute your microphones. There will be a time to speak. If you would like to speak to this meeting, we'll have a heavy focus on back to school fall 2020. We want to hear your voices about what that looks like, what that feels like to you about fall returning to school in fall 2020. And we're going to leave a good section of this meeting tonight to hear your voices. If you so wish to speak, we're asking you to please type the word speak and your name, and our amazing Elena Amenova together with Crystal Weiss, they will be taking down your names and they will send it to us in the chat so you can see your name up there so we can call you to speak later on in the public comment section. Without further ado, I will definitely call upon this time our district's 28th superintendent, Dr. Tammy Pate, to give her superintendent's report. Dr. Pate. You're muted.
That was me affirming I was muted. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. It is, of course, my pleasure to be with you on today. We have, as you know, have been very, very busy, and thank you so much for our CEC being such an extraordinary partner in communication, sending notices and articles back and forth. I think our biggest share on today will be the conversation we're going to have at some greater length later on tonight regarding school reentry. I do want to say to you that I continue to be a part of that conversation. I'm very thankful to have been given the opportunity to represent District 28 and represent our nearly 24,000 students in our K-8 programs and over 17,000 in our high schools. It is really a joy to be able to put forth our ideas and our priorities and urgency to the Department of Education Central Office planning offices. And so we, as has already been seen in the news, much of what we have been discussing about the options being provided to parents and allowing parents, because it is, I feel it's our job to ensure that your choices and your desires are heard and respected by this great system, it's good to see when that translates, right? So the work that you put in is actually in translation. When it gets to a central level or to the level of the mayor, it's still true. And so that was a really big moment today for us to hear that we will be able to have some agency, some selection with regard to whether we return and how we return for the upcoming school year. And we're going to continue to be together as we work through what is best for our individual families and our collective schools. We have also, I don't know that you know this, so going into remote learning, I felt the need to make our district a little smaller in terms of leadership and support of our schools. And so I created cohorts, and each of our district team leaders had a cohort that they served as point person for. And so each one of us had a group of schools that we was point for. We met on a daily basis in order to funnel information back and forth, make sure that we were a little more intimate in terms of how we are communicating and supporting our schools and our students. That continues to be true for the summer session. We've done a little bit of recalibration. This will be a surprise to our IC Principal Grego here. We haven't actually shared the new cohort structure with our principals. We will do so on Monday. We feel like you've had enough in this week. We've been in a lot of meetings and it's been a lot going on. So I didn't want to kind of give that to them today when they have the day off. But what I've done in terms of restructuring our cohorts is to put them in cohorts so that they could think together, similar grade bands and similar school sizes, so they can think together about what it will mean for the school to welcome our students back. So we're going to have team leaders who will get together and they'll create their own schedule of meetings so that they can just have the wisdom of crowds. They can think together about what it will look like to return, and then to access our parents as part of that conversation about what the needs are. I was very excited to hear the Department of Education say, listen, your budgets will be challenging. So we're not asking you to purchase PPE, personal protective equipment. We're not asking you to purchase cleaning agents and things of that nature. So they're going to provide those items to each of our schools and to our children. I also don't know, and it was a terrible picture, but I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. On this week, I also had the opportunity to be a part of receiving a donation of masks from our Senator Sanders through the Chinese consulate, who donated 5,000 masks to one of our elementary schools in the district. And of course, I never miss an opportunity. I took everyone's card and then began to speak to them about the fact that we have over 40,000 students, and 5,000 will only go a very short way, especially given the fact that small children will need to change their masks frequently during the day. So I'm in the process of campaigning for another donation from Senator Sanders and all of our local representatives. It's a big deal to get ready for what we're about to do. So we thought that going into remote was a big deal. You just wait to see how much you're going to have to meet and give us information around how we re-enter a school building in the midst of COVID-19, in the midst of a pandemic. Because to be clear, this is not over, right? Like, we're all clear. Yes, it's clear that we are not over. It's clear that if we're looking at the news, that resurgence and spikes is completely possible. And so at the end of the day, we have to be clear about what we're doing. Yes, we are educating, and we're desirous of educating our students in a physical space. And yes, we are absolutely commissioned to support the health and well-being of our students. That will not come second to anything, literally anything, right? So if we find that we cannot create a structure that ensures our children and the folk who support them in the building is safe, we have to go back to the drawing board. And so I want you to know that if I sit in a space, I haven't learned yet to close my mouth. I haven't learned yet to not be a fighter. Hopefully, I can make it through this beautiful life, never learning that that thing. Because I think that we are here to advocate for and with each other, and to ensure that what we need as a district and as a larger system is heard by those empowered to make the decision. I also have one new piece of news for you. This will be a surprise for some of us, but we did officially announce it to our principals, and I'm going to officially announce it here. We are losing one of our wonderful principals in the district, who has decided to take advantage of another opportunity, and that's Principal Natalie Perez. She has decided to pursue a different interest, and she was until up to July 1, the principal of Public School 139. You know that that is one of our recognition schools, and that there's a very specific criteria for becoming a recognition school. And all of our schools are special, but it's wonderful that that school has done so well over these years. And the challenge for me was, in one day, I needed to find an interim acting principal for that school, right? In one day. I want to tell you, one day. And all of you here are leaders. You know, identifying a person for any job is not easy. Identifying a principal for that school, equally, not an easy event. But I am happy to announce that we have selected a member of my district team who very skilled, and I'm very happy. For Eleuterio Roland, sorry JR, massacred, but Mr. Roland will be the interim acting principal of PS 139 here in our own district. What does that mean?
Roland is going to be the interim acting principal.
Mr. Roland, someone just said it. Thank you. Will be the interim acting principal of Public School 139. That does not mean that this is a permanent placement. What this means is that he will be interim acting while we engage in the C30 process. So you will get information very soon. I encourage you to encourage others that you know who may be interested in applying for the principalship to do so. I am tragically transparent. Those who have gone through the C30 process with me, or any other accountability or compliance event, know how I work. I operate in my life as if there is a mic and a camera looking at me. And that way, you don't get caught slipping, right? And so we want to make sure that this is an open and an informed process. You are going to love Mr. Roland. I'm going to tell you right now, he is not just a smart man. He is a genuine people person. He knows how to move organizations. And so we are excited that he will take the helm while we are engaging in the C30 process. And so that's about it. I can talk. I'm going to stop talking now. And thank you all for the year. We did it, all right? We did it. And I could not be more proud of this amazing district. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Pate, and thank you for your amazing work and for. We like tragically transparent. We love that. Keep doing that, please. Our district deserves that, and we work well with that also. And we love to keep them honest, right? That's important for our district. So thank you so much. At this point, I'm going to go through. I want to welcome all of our principals who are here so far. I see Principal John Greco, who is here. He's put his name. Mr. Greco, thank you for being here. Always coming on board. We really appreciate you being here. If there are any other principals who are on our call, let's put the word principal before your name so you can populate to the higher top so I can see you on the call. I want to acknowledge our CEC team. I'm going to go through our team now and ask each one to give their report if they have one. So I'll start with Barbara Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, I don't have a report, but I just want to say thank you all for being here. Happy seeing everyone safe and in good health.
Thank you, Barbara. Next we have is Robert Tamayev. Any report at this point, Robert?
No, I'll talk in a few minutes, but no report right now.
Thank you, Robert. Elena Aminova.
Good evening, everyone. I know we had a side discussion going on, and I think there was a comment made on one of the Facebook groups, and I wanted to share something here. My daughter just graduated from a school in District 25 and will be going into middle school in District 28. Now, I was on the SLT at the District 25 school this past year, academic year, and in the last SLT meeting, I just want to share something here. The amount of planning that school, and perhaps I can share the school's name, it's Queens College School for Math, Science, and Technology, PSIS 499. The amount of planning that went into the series of SLT meetings for that particular school to prep for September. They've added additional SLT meetings discussing basically the structure of the classroom setup, the number of kids, students can be going into the individual classrooms, the alternative schedules, and the amount of planning and details that went into in the month of June has been eye-opening to me and actually refreshing to see. Obviously, my daughter is not continuing with that school, and we are happy to be going to Halsey next year, our district school. With that said, I want to make sure that we do our equal part within District 28, having enough time, knowing enough time before September to make sure that our kids are equally safe within District 28, and that, we celebrate obviously what District 25 is doing, but we can do, even better. So I just wanted to share that experience that from my being on the school leadership team with that school, and how impressed I was. And I know that there were some comments there on one of the Facebook groups that I saw, when I believe Venus shared that as well, and she can share that later as well in some meeting that she attended. So again, just wanted to share that. And I did also want to share that there were a lot of online activities, online graduations, and I know some of our schools, I know PS 174 have done a great job with 5th grade graduations with the cars lined up and the teachers doing an amazing job. So I wanted to celebrate that with PS 174. And I know that it wasn't easy for the multiple graduation events that had to be done remotely as well, and virtual events. And again, I want to give kudos to the principals and the administration and the schools of trying to do the best with the difficult situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. Next, we're going to ask Andy Medes-King.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if it's a report or whatever.
Yeah, it's a quick report. Yeah. Do you have any report?
Well, I would like to say that my daughter graduated from Louis Armstrong junior high school. She's going into a high school. She's going to she got a scholarship to go to a private school that's out in Pennsylvania. The cost of going to the private school is over $60-something thousand a year, but she got a scholarship. It wasn't easy, it was hard, but I would like to say that my daughter and I and my wife was the victim of fierce racism at Louis Armstrong School. I mean, it was so fierce and so bad that I had to take lawyer to the school in order for the teachers to, for the principal, the guidance counselor, the dean to come off of my daughter's back. She was a target because of her academically, and even while she was at home, they even made allegations that against her, and submitted to the ACS saying that she's about to commit suicide. That's how far and how much racism I've faced with my daughter. And I can tell anybody, man, I've been going through it for years, man. It's not easy, man. You know what I mean? My daughter was at home for 3 months since March, and they made a report in May, in June, June last month, saying that they haven't seen my daughter and saying that my daughter want to commit suicide. I mean, it's not something easy. And all of that is to tarnish her career. And the institutional racism that my daughter went through at Louis Armstrong, man, I don't want no parent go through that, man. It's terrible. The teachers over there are terrible because she's black and she's doing well. They try every single thing to pull her down. And when they realize that she's going to a very, very good school, they send false and bad report also to the school in order to discredit her, man. So that's my report person that I have to give for myself and my daughter.
Thank you, Andy. I'm happy you guys overcame that, and congratulations to you and to your daughter. We're very proud of you. Thank you. Next, we're going to have Erica Cooper.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank everybody for attending the meeting today. And Micah, hold on, you can unmute too. We had the pleasure of meeting with one of the principal from that we represent, and that was from PS80. So I just want to thank Principal Cox for taking the time out to meet with us and just to discuss how the whole experience of online and what's the plan for the future. And it was a very enlightening meeting. Mike, I don't know if you want to join in on that, but that was one of the schools that we were able to meet with and talk on. Hello?
Yes, I would agree. It was a terrific meeting, and I think that you know, I think that I don't want to take up too much of Erica's time, and I'll speak when VJ moves it to me. But
Okay.
yes, it was terrific.
Okay, yeah, so we did get, even in, you know, in this time, we were able to still reach out to some of the schools and PS80. So I am just thankful because before the whole COVID, we weren't able to actually go into the school to meet with them. So I just want to thank any of the parents that's there and for Principal Cox for allowing that time for us to meet. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Erica. Next we have is Ted Chang.
I don't have a specific report, but I just, hearing what Andy said was just heartbreaking. And I just wanted to say that that's actually not the first time that I've heard a story like that. Just even within our district, I've heard of parents who have experienced very negative things from their schools where they felt like they weren't being treated fairly. And I've even just recently heard about retaliation in other districts. And I guess I just wanted to ask an open question is like, what can a parent do in that situation if they feel like, and many of these cases are because many cases that I've heard of are involve race and involve you know, things like IEP situations. And it's just heartbreaking to hear this as a parent. And I don't know how to, what can we do to sort of ensure that there's some, you know, a fair process for those types of parents. So it's just a comment.
Thank you, Ted. Next person we have is Howard Pollock.
Thank you, VJ. Welcome to my colleagues. Welcome to everyone attending. You know, I do have a brief report, but just to speak to what happened to Andy, and it's terrible. It's heartbreaking, and I want to let Andy know if there's anything that I can do personally to assist. I will do whatever I can to help him. This should never happen to a child, never. In terms of my report, there's been nothing new in terms of the diversity process in District 28. There's no new news at all. Last time someone asked about WXY and their contract, the DOE enabled the Economic Development Corporation to contract with WXY. They are the city contracting entity. I cannot explain why DOE enabled EDC to be the contracting entity. That being said, I have no news to report on progress concerning the diversity plan for District 28. When and if that happens, I will certainly be happy to report. Also, my daughter graduated from 5th grade, going on to middle school in District 28. Really happy, pleased, and wish her the kind of success that only happiness can bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Next we're gonna have is Michael Morrison. Michael Morrison.
VJ, do you want me to give the school
Yes.
safety committee report? Okay, this is brief. So thank you all and congratulations on all your graduations and getting the kids out of school. In terms of Andy, that was a very disturbing report, and I think we need as a committee to discuss that and ensure channels for addressing that. The school safety committee was formed before the pandemic to address questions of racism in the community, bullying, school violence, including gun violence, and we have been overshadowed, of course, by the pandemic, but we are working on creating some sort of channel. I wish we had heard about this, you know, in the midst of it, or when it was starting rather than at this point, but be that as it may, we should address it. On the overriding issue though, it's clear to us in our conversations, and Erica talked a little bit about our conversations with one of the principals, Principal Cox. It was wonderful. And I had other conversations with principals. This is one of the core missions of the CEC, and one of the things I'm advocating is we need to go back to our core mission. It's very difficult for all of us. We're all so busy, we have jobs, etc. But to reach out and get our principals and hear what their concerns on, because I think it's been a very effective process and a very informative process. And one of the things we learned, we brought up at the last meeting, is that many of the parents say, we are not sending our kids back to school. Forget about it. We're too scared. And of course, the pandemic now being the key school safety issue, that's a great concern. Now, I've been inquiring at DOE, when's the plan? People say plans are out in Jersey, they're in Connecticut. How come we don't have a plan? Well, first of all, we're the largest school system in the country. So, you know, that it takes a little bit longer. Second of all, I think DOE has been quite responsive. Dr. Pate referred to it a little bit earlier in the talk today, but if you don't know, the news came out today that any New York City family that wants to do full-time remote learning in September can do full-time remote learning. So that's a very big move, and it's gonna make a lot of changes. But again, any family that does not want to send their kids to school in the fall can do full-time remote learning. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more about that. The second thing, that's confirmed, the mayor said it today. The second thing is that what I'm told is that there's going to be a major rollout of the school safety planning on a citywide level on July 13th. Now, has anybody confirmed that? No, but that's what apparently they're moving towards. Until then, the best thing we really have is the Chancellor's letter of June 9, which we have posted on our website. And I'll tell you very briefly, I mean, a little bit of new news, not in the Chancellor's letter, is that they are announcing that every school will be deep cleaned every night using electrostatic sprayers that dispense disinfectant. I have no idea what an electrostatic sprayer is, but it sounds pretty impressive. Other things that the Chancellor says we will have PPP equipment and all supplies at every school. There will be a social distancing protocol, monitors of health indicators. There's going to be a major focus, and Eric and I heard this from our principals, on the social emotional needs. Andy's case kind of alluded to it. A lot of these kids are just traumatized. There's going to be again a focus on social distancing. They're looking at split schedules, and there's a major effort on building operations, how the schools will be cleaned. All that, my understanding, is going to be unfolding. In addition, school busing, school food operations are getting a major look, and there's a major discussion on about that. But as somebody indicated earlier, and I'll end here, BJ, this is going to be ongoing. This will be happening all fall, and there's going to be a major freak out in September. So we all need to be communicating what works, what doesn't work, and moving forward from there. We're going to be gathering information as a CEC. What we've discussed is putting the latest out on our website, really just on an informational basis, not on our opinion, but here's what's going on. Here's a resource you can turn to. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you so much, Micah, and all of the council members. I will give my report later on. At this time, we'll ask our dear Paula DeClark from FACE to really update us with anything if she has on her end. Paula?
Oh, hi. I don't have an update per se, but I do want to draw your attention to the wrap-up that just came out. There are the results of surveys that we conducted on, principally focused on reopening. And also just sort of end of year announcements. It's too long, so I don't want to go through it, but you've all received it. And that's all I really have. It's the end of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. So this time we're going to be calling on our council member, Robert Tamayev, and he will be giving a presentation on COVID-19 and what that looks like. And I should say, Dr. Robert Tamayev, who is a medical doctor, and also he is a PhD, doctorate also. So Dr. Tamayev, go for it.
Thank you, Vijay. So
you timed it so well because he approximated 7:05 for Robert to go. Vijay, I don't know how you did it, but kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a chance to take care of everything I had to do. All right, I'm just gonna give a quick 5 to 7 minute presentation as to what all of this is and what we really need. A lot of what Micah talked about is actually really important. So I just want to say that I'm giving you medical information from a doctor scientist point of view. I have no political or personal influences in the presentation, and I generally in medicine does not and should not partake in any sort of influences one way or the other. So I'm giving this talk, like he said, I have both an MD and a PhD in allergy immunology and microbiology immunology. So this is part of my field. This is what I do. So everyone's reading things, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. So COVID is basically just a regular coronavirus, which is the cause of the common cold, except this particular one is able to overwhelm the immune system, leading to a cytokine storm, other cardiac issues. In children, I'm sure you guys have seen something called multi-system inflammatory syndrome. Basically, it overdrives your immune system. It's clearly infected over 10 million people. What we know, probably far more than that. And unfortunately, unlike other colds, it does not take breaks. So there was a lot of hope that as the summer rolls around, this will go away. But given those cases in Florida that you can see, that is definitely not the case. So it's a scary disease. We're in New York. It clearly has affected either us directly or many close to us. And like other common colds, other common colds, it affects both immunocompromised patients as well as those who seem not to have any medical condition. And that's what the biggest problem is. So that leads us to why this is so scary. It's simply that we don't know anything. In medicine, we usually stay ahead of the game. We know what's going on. This one, we don't know. We don't understand why it does a lot of what it does. We know it does the cytokine storm, like I said, overwhelming the immune system. It attacks those people who have heart failure. It causes blood clots. If you're diabetic, sickle cell, other heart diseases, if you're extremely obese, these are things that put you at extremely higher risk. But that's all short-term, right? It's easy to just say, well, I survived and so I'm fine. But I can tell you there's data out there now that short-term issues is just one of the problems. There's some data available that there's long-term inflammation in the lungs, and there might even be some neurological consequences in the long run. So I want to focus on what do we need to happen so that we're better off in September. And the number one thing we need is to make sure that the teachers are all tested. Everyone who enters the school system needs to be tested and needs to be watched closely. So teachers, administrators, somebody mentioned the buses. So yes, the school bus drivers are very important, right? Will our students actually be going through the school bus? And then this isn't about testing everyone once. This has to be periodic testing. We're talking about every 2 to 3 weeks. I think, testing children is something that goes possibly a bit far, right? This is something that will actually probably come up as well. But that's something we need to talk. And more importantly, right, just testing is one thing, but something called contact tracing. I'm sure you've heard about it in the news. And what that means is that if you see someone positive, you immediately need to go back and assume that everyone they saw or have been around for the last week might also be positive. So let's say kids start school and they come to class, and September 30th, it turns out that teacher A is positive. That entire class now needs to stay home. And assuming they I hope they will not eat lunch in the lunchrooms, everyone they came across also would then need to stay home for a couple of weeks. That's really the only way to control it. I can tell you in my own medical system, there's now a flag that appeared just today that says this person either was tested, either PCR or antibody tested, but they were tested. And so they need to be, like, they're in the monitoring period now. So that's what New York is doing. That's what the government in general should be doing, because that's pretty much how China was able to control it, as well as the other Asian countries. Finally, so then there was all this about cleaning the schools, definitely important, right? That plays its own role, and I think that speaks for itself. And then if we're sending our children to school, we need to protect those at risk. So I mentioned a lot of who those are, but elderly teachers may not want to work this year. Grandparents take care of a lot of our children. They are at risk. Children may not get a severe infection, but the grandparents may. So we need to find alternate care for those kids after school. If the bus driver is diabetic, we may not want him to come to work. Not because, I think we should pay him, but we don't want to put those people at risk. Same story with cafeteria workers, right? If, let's say they have a heart disease. So we need to really pick out who can work and try to get only the people that we're pretty sure can be safe to come to school. This antibody testing is something everyone brings up. It's big in the news. We don't know whether that is protective. We don't know how long that lasts. And we don't know how many people we need. So I'm seeing a lot of comments that I'm not making people comfortable. These are the facts. The facts are scary. I do want to give you some good news about schooling. One is, so there were a couple of cases brought up in Europe. One was that a teacher was positive and she gave it to a few of her students. And it was found that that teacher was walking around in her classroom. She actually went between the classrooms, she came close. And then there's another case where a teacher was in a class with about 15 students and not a single one got infected because the teacher was always behind the desk. So that's something that's some good information that we need and something that can help us reopen schools appropriately if we know this information and apply it properly. And lastly, I'm going to finish with a couple of things. So the American Pediatric Society came out, American Academy of Pediatrics, which is in charge of all the pediatricians, came out this week with a few statements. They are very much into opening schools. They feel like there are a lot of alternate consequences, such as psychological issues, both physical issues, and other long-term issues that may arise in our children. So I just want parents who are looking at it from one point of view to really look at it from the other. It's not simply, I'll keep my child home. We really want to make sure that we can do this safely for their current and future well-being. And to mitigate the fear a little bit, there are some drugs in the works that people don't really know about. And I think there's one drug particularly that's going to stop the spread of the virus within its own body, which will halt and allow our immune system to fight it. I think that is something that gives us all hope. So looking into that, we should all be happy that there may be a way where even if a vaccine is not available, that we can move forward and potentially reopen everything with knowing that our children will be safe. Thanks, Vijay. That's all I got.
Robert, thank you so much. As you promised, I thank you for delivering and bringing your knowledge to us here. I think any knowledge is important. So thank you for bringing your knowledge to the table and giving, again, some ideas of what's happening. Again, Robert does not represent any organization, or he is just representing himself. So that's FYI to anybody else. And thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being a first responder too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At this time, I just want to acknowledge Sherry Algrado from Community Board 9. I want to acknowledge Bibi Matadin from FACE also. Thank you all for always joining our meetings and being here. Thank you so much. Moving right along, we're going to have a presentation from our President's Council, the amazing team duo who is always informing us with all the emails and the messages, but they are informed. I'm going to thank them both for always being present. Shirley Aubin, and we have Jessica Zillo, who will be presenting today for us on the D28 President's Council. Take it away, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here. Thank you, VJ, council members. Before I go into a presentation about the pandemic EBT card, I have a few announcements. Micah and Paula touched on the remote learning survey. The results are in. I will be emailing the end of the week just in case for those who didn't get it. I have an answer for those who want to go completely remote learning. You have to hand in the application by August 7th if you want your child to be solely on remote learning. The next President's Council meeting is July 30th at 6:30. And with the President's Council, along with our Family Leadership Coordinator, Sonia Rueda, we're gonna have PTA's professional development throughout the summer. The dates will be announced. And our bi-weekly chats are still continuing, and the next one is Thursday, July 9th. So at this time, I'm going to go into our presentation unless Jessica want to say something.
I just want to say thank you everybody for being here, and we look forward to continuing to partner with the CEC. And again, President's Council is here for the parent leaders as well as the community to help with concerns, to work in conjunction with the CEC.
Go ahead, Shirley.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. Okay, we're gonna skip.
Yeah,
there we go.
we see your screen.
Okay, so what is the pandemic EBT? Everyone who participates in the federal government lunch program, this is a federal, get free lunch or reduced lunch. So since we got into remote learning, from March to June, the federal government has given the monetary value of the lunch that if the child will be in school. So all of New York City participates in the free lunch. So all New York City school students will get the $420, which is the total for the months that we were on remote learning. The state, if you have relatives, the state also is participating. It's just not for, is all those who receive free lunch or reduced lunch, the student, the school district. So we're concentrating on New York City because we're New York City DOE. And so all the students will be getting $420. Pandemic EBT card. Now it's going through different ways, how the city decided to disperse the federal funds. Wave one is for those who have SNAP or are on public assistance. So the first payment of $193 should have been to your card in early June. The second payment of $227 for May and June by the end of June. So wave one should have been completed already. Wave two is those who are not on SNAP or public assistance, but have Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. They will get a one payment of $420 around the end of June. So I think the majority of us falls in wave three, which each student that you have in New York City DOE will receive a EBT card in their name. That will start in the beginning of July and August. So as I said, every child will get a pandemic EBT card. Frequent asked questions. I think one that's good, the one that's, well, I need to pay back my child's food benefits. No, everybody, this is free. You don't use it. You don't have to pay it back. This is what they are giving since they didn't receive lunch in school because we were in remote learning. And as I said, it's going to be very brief. They came up with a hotline. So if you have any questions about the food benefits hotline, you can email otda.sm.esi.spepd@otda@ny.gov or call the PEBT food benefits helpline at 833-452-0096. if you do, I have gotten questions from parents as if they did not want to use the benefits, how can they give it away? You can buy food for someone. You can go to a shelter and ask what they need and purchase the food. You can't transfer the card. And if you don't use it, it's gonna go back to the federal government. And that'll be it for my presentation.
So thank you, Shirley. Before we transfer over, I do see that there's some questions in the chat in regards to the summer meals. The food hubs are still in effect throughout the summer. We actually, Shirley had put a nice little bullet. It said community food advocates. If you go to their website, they actually have an interactive map and you can find a local food hub near you. Same thing with the DOE website, they're located there. So the food hubs will continue to work throughout the summer. So you can still pick up food from those centers as well.
Yes, it does not affect the pandemic EBT card. One that has nothing to do with the other. And I'm going to turn it back to VJ. Everybody enjoy your summer. Happy graduates of 2020.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to bring this over a little bit over here. So good afternoon to all of you once again. This is my report for today. It's going to be a little brief, but I want to thank you all for being here today. Let me make this a little smaller. Community partners, thank you to all of you who always come to our meetings over and over again and voice your concerns and your opinions. Thank you to the President's Council, Shirley Aubin and Jessica Zila, for always coming by. Even when you don't have to present, you show up and you are always there to really lend your voice and your comments to share knowledge and share information. All information is always important. Thank you both for always being here. To all parents and all our community leaders in our group here, we are partners, right? We are partners in our children's education. And we want to thank you for all that you have been doing and showing up and guiding us along too. Summer school, I think some of these things have been mentioned. Schools communicated to summer school students by June 30th that they will be attending summer school, and they have to log into Teach Hub and iLearn NY School using their DOE school accounts. iLearn NYC as the learning platform for summer 2020 for students who are attending summer school. Log in using a DOE account. Even if the child's school uses a different school platform, they'll be using iLearn NYC. Definitely check that out. And you know, DOE Fall 2020 Return to School survey results. As we know, this survey was sent out to gather responses from across the city about what parents and students are feeling, and they had 301,138 families responded, and 117,700 students actually responded to this survey that the DOE sent out. And you know, the one first thing Micah mentioned earlier on too, health and safety results. From the survey, the DOE is developing a system for staff to apply for medical accommodations that will allow them to work from home due to COVID-19. So teachers or any staff of the school can also apply for this medical accommodations, so they will not be forced or required to teach from school, to go to the school. And the DOE will honor students' medical accommodations as well to have remote learning. 48% of those who responded, the students from grades 6 to 12, said that they were very or mostly comfortable wearing a mask to school every day. 51% of the families respondents said that they were very or mostly comfortable with their child wearing a mask to school every day, though the results varied by grade level. So from K to 12, 43%, 3 to 8, 51%, and 9 to 12, 62%. I know a big concern for a lot of families are how the young little ones, the kindergartners and the first graders, are going to keep their masks on. Preferred schedule results, right? So there's this talk about what the schedules will look like. How can we have school back in September to make it, you know, comfortable, accommodating, and for families that Micah mentioned, for families that want to have an all remote schedule next fall. Additional information in the coming weeks will be given out to how to register for that. I think Shirley just mentioned August 7th is the date to submit that before. to be accepted. So please look out for that announcement so you can be accounted for. And students will not need a medical reason to register for this option to do full all remote learning next fall. 53% of parents feel very or mostly comfortable sending their child back to school. 24% feel a little comfortable, and 22% feel not all comfortable at all. 72% of parents prefer sending their child back to school if safety measures are in place. When presented with the option to alternate schools, alternate weeks, or learn home every day, 48% of students and 53% of families prefer alternating days. For example, your child can have a Monday, Wednesday school schedule each week and alternating Fridays, or Tuesday, Thursday, and then alternating Fridays for a school schedule. For example, 25% of students and 26% of families prefer to learn from home every day. And 25% of students and 19% of families prefer alternating weeks, which means these kids go to school for one full week, then stay home for the next week. Again, these are all from the survey that was conducted recently from the DOE. And the planning phase, right? That is me in the corner here with one eye open, right? So as the DOE continue to plan what they have to do, they want to promote behaviors that reduce the spread by requiring physical distancing. At this point, is 6 feet at all times. Face coverings were developmentally appropriately while inside buildings, and increase access to hand washing and sanitizer. They're also thinking about making changes to school buildings by incorporating physical distancing, isolation rooms in case someone becomes ill, and lunch in classrooms or requiring assigned seating in cafeterias. Enhanced cleaning and disinfection through deep cleaning, as Micah mentioned, on a nightly basis with electrostatic sprayers, fancy stuff, right? Improving HVACs and ventilation in the schools. The DOE will also order cleaning supplies, including an initial order of 11,000 cases of hand sanitizers, an initial order of 100,000 cases of disinfectant wipes, in addition to providing disposable face coverings to students and staff. As many of you know, the New York City budget has passed. And what does that mean for us so far? City Council voted to approve the New York City's $88.1 billion budget. The DOE budget has been reduced by a net of $275 million. Full school budget for next year will be announced on Wednesday, July 8th. Please pay attention for that. And a previously proposed $100 million fair student funding reduction is now restored, and a school-based hiring freeze is still in effect. So school safety will be moving from NYPD to DOE. School safety agents will be moving from the NYPD to DOE. In the next year, transition will begin with additional DOE-led training in de-escalation, implicit bias, restorative justice, and school safety officers will be on the DOE payroll going forward. And in-person services to students with IEPs, DOE will be providing in-person services to students with disabilities over the summer. The DOE will be providing speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy, as well as transition services for these students. And if you have any questions or concerns, please email specialeducation@schools.nyc.gov. Raise your voices, New York Post, right? CEC28 has been in the news quite a lot, right? As you all know, we have been in the front pages of a lot of newspapers throughout for many various reasons, but I am proud of this one, that we were in a newspaper because they quoted our survey that we did as a council. And this is the link over here where they quoted CEC28 saying that according to the Community Education Council 28 in Queens, 1,800 families responded to a survey about changes to screen school admissions for next year. The Parental Advisory Board said 79% of respondents wanted grades earned prior to disclosure of the city schools to count as a metric, and that 76% supports using attendance prior to the shuttering as a measure. Your voices matter, right? And this is not, we don't really care about the post and who quotes us, but it goes to show when we speak up, people are listening. I want to encourage all of you to continue to look out for our surveys. We will continue to use this platform of service to collect voices from across the district. So this year, today, as many of you know, is a split meeting. We're going to be right after this meeting for CECs. We have annual elections where each CEC member, we are elected for 2 years, a 2-year term. And then we have to, within that 1 year, we have to re-elect executive members in the council. I was elected as president last year around this time for the CEC28. And I want to tell you, it was quite interesting, right? It was unique. And these words stuck out to me while I was president of this council. It was quite unique. It was challenging. It was a very good learning experience. I had to have a lot of patience many times, many occasions. There was a lot of growth in this process. We had to collaborate, and I had to collaborate across many platforms to accomplish many goals for many parents of our district, and lots of media and interviews I had to go on and to accommodate, to answer questions about the district. I did not expect anything less. Many of you know I was part of the CEC as a regular member at the end of the 2018-2019 school year, and then I became president for this 2019-2020 school year. And the transition has been great. Thank you all for your faith, your trust. If elected again to be president again, I will continue to serve. But again, it's up to the fellow council members, but I'm happy to share that responsibility or hand it over to any of my fellow council members, because I think we're all equally strong and powerful in our own right. Paula Descartes, that's the best picture I could have found of you, Paula. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Paula, you have been amazing. This year has been challenging in many ways in terms of not working with an administrative assistant as a new council. We had a change in superintendent leadership. And we had so many challenging things to do. And I want to thank you not as a face a personnel, but as a human being, as one human to another. Because you could just do your job as, as face representative, but you went above and beyond throughout the year, and you gave us so much more patience and really staying late nights. And this year, CEC28 went across the district to different schools to host our meetings, to accommodate our parents, and you followed us throughout. And I want to say a heartfelt thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Year has been, of course. And this year, my dear friends, the learning pit, right? We were faced with so many new challenges, right? CEC28, I don't think any of the members anticipate that we would have been in or had to face or answer the questions that we would have had to answer, or we had answered, or still answering, especially now when it comes to this pandemic, right? And this coronavirus and the big question mark of what that means. But I also feel like in every challenge, there's something called great learning, a great chance to learn and to build. And that's how I always view every situation, that once we give it our best, we can move forward, because at least we learned something. And when we face a challenge, you feel anxious, we feel nervous, we feel scared, we feel excited. I remember many of our fellow members say, oh my God, I feel scared, I feel nervous, when we had the big room full of people waiting outside the door who couldn't get into our office room, our meeting space. Some of you felt nervous, anxious, like, what do we do? Oh my God. But we said, let's do what we were selected to do, to lead, right? And some of us want to quit. Some of us want to feel like it's too hard, I can't do this. Oh my God, what are the parents going to say? What are this person going to say? What is the media going to say? But then we said something together, council members. We said, let's work together. We said, let's put our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our ideas together for the best of every child in District 28. And I want to commend you for this. And in the process of working together, you may learn a sense of collaboration, and we concentrated our effort for the greater good of District 28. We did that. We sure did that. And good learners go in the pit. We went down to the bottom when we had to face the challenges. And guess what? We're still facing the challenges, but we are going to do together, and we're going to come out of it together as a team. And when we have questions like, I am not good at this, it's okay to bring those voices. I don't understand this. It's okay to bring our voices. But if someone is not understanding or not good at something, we should only find the faults in that person, but we should lend a hand. Lend a hand and say, hey, let me help you understand. Let me help you get good at this. And I think we all did that throughout this year. And we all learned from each other, including our parents, including Paula, including our superintendent. And I was happy to be part of that process. CEC28, we're a team, we're a dream team. We can do things that is great. We have done great things. We have raised the bar very high for CEC28, and I could not have done my role and my duty as your president without your collaboration, without your support and your faith and trust in my leadership. I thank you dearly for your commitment. And that brings me to an end of my report. So thank you so much for this. Before I hand over it now to our public comment section, I want to say a word about the chat. You know, we have a choice to disable the chat on the side of this meeting here. And it's with a click of a button and we can just discontinue it. And we have chosen to allow the chat to be a space of free communication, of expression. But I've always asked all of you to keep the chat on the side respectful. Because we can disagree respectfully and we can agree to disagree. I've seen many of you in the side chat become very not great, not polite, not nice, and this is not who we are, my dear friends. It's not good. So I'm asking you all, as we continue this conversation and as we continue this meeting, to please keep your comments respectful. Please, I will appreciate all of you to please keep your comments, peaceful. Let your comments be respectful, and let's continue to have a space like where we can exchange ideas. I'll ask you all with the most polite way I can to please just keep it really nice and polite to each other. Thank you. So now we're gonna be moving to the next part of our public comment section. And we really wanna hear your voices about school reopening in fall 2020, what that looks like, what that feels like to you, or anything else, any comments you have. We will not be answering questions directly from you. We'll take notes, including Dr. Pate, and then she will respond to you accordingly. So the first person we're gonna call, please unmute yourself, and you will have, can we have, I'll call on Erica. Can you please do timing for us?
Okay. What are we
Thank
giving?
you.
How much time?
So we don't have a long list. We can give each person their 3 minutes. Yeah, is that fair?
Okay. So,
thank you. So let's do 3 minutes now. So I'll first call on Melissa Mancuso, please, at this time.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Melissa, go ahead.
Great, thank you. Good evening. I'm a parent of 2 children in District 28. I'd like to start by thanking the CEC, Dr. Pate, and the district team for sharing all this information tonight. We have so many questions about the fall, and we really appreciate all these updates. My comment is addressing the survey that was referenced tonight regarding screen schools. So you referred to the New York Post article. I've also heard from that and from other sources that Andrew Hevesy and the other elected officials have contacted the Department of Education to say that constituents in District 28 favor screen schools based on that survey. Given the data shared at the last meeting that I attended, which I think was in April or May, I'm a little concerned about whose preferences are represented in that survey. As of the last CEC meeting, there were about 1,200 respondents. The Post article said 1,800 respondents had completed the survey. And I listened into the District 20 CEC meeting last night out of curiosity, and I learned that they also deployed a survey and they gathered 4,000 responses, and they're still pushing to solicit even more because they considered even 4,000 responses to be inadequate. And so I'm a little concerned that we don't have enough respondents to really draw conclusions, that we're jumping to conclusions, and that we know that we have folks from outside our district coming to our meetings and inserting their voices into our affairs and speaking over the voices of parents in our own district. In particular, it does seem to be the typical way of affairs that we have a lot of families in the north that we hear from quite a bit, and hearing very little from families in the south part of our district. So we—
1 minute warning.
Thank you. We, the parents, trust you on the CEC to represent the interests of all the parents of all the schools in the district. And I appreciate that this is a volunteer responsibility that you have and that the outreach is challenging. But I noticed that tonight, most of the members had nothing to report from their schools. And that's not the first time that this has been the case. So again, appreciate all the challenges you're facing, but please, please, please take advantage of every opportunity. Please be creative with your outreach. Venus Ketchum in the chat suggested a South Schools town hall. Please, please, please continue to push for that outreach and for that engagement so that we can engage all the families in our district and really represent our views to the Department of Education. So thank you again for all that you do, and just again to please urge you to consider that outreach from all of our schools.
Thank you, Melissa. Next, we're going to have Ari Feldman.
Hi, I actually have a kind of similar thing to talk about as the last speaker. I am, again, also concerned seeing headlines, politicians using the survey as if it's the voice of our district and the parents in our district. When I saw the survey, I was already concerned because there was no demographic information asked, so we have no idea how representative it is of the racial breakdown of our families, and we know that screening is, it's a matter of race, it's not just a matter of academics, and so we need to be aware, if we're going to be anti-racist, we need to be aware of where race comes into play, and we need to have that kind of information. As last speaker said, the numbers also are concerning. If you remember, I got up in the fall when we were doing diversity planning, talking about that, and I pointed out my concern that our CEC meetings are not representative of the district, and the voices that are the ones that are most impacted by equity issues are the ones that we hear the least. Where, like, do we know what proportion of the respondents have students in temporary housing? Do we know what proportion of the respondents English is not their first language? You know, the survey itself had a button that was in English saying that you could translate the survey. That was the only way that a parent who doesn't speak English or read English really would be able to have it translated. So I'm concerned. Like, I love the fact that we're doing this outreach. I think it's really important, and I really, like I said, I really appreciate the job you guys do, and I know that you work hard, and things aren't going to be perfect the first time. I'm mostly speaking to make sure that it's
1
on
minute
the record.
warning.
Thanks. That it's on the record that that our elected representatives are using this as in the assumption that it is representative of our whole district. And you know, you showed the stat that there were 300,000 respondents to the remote learning survey, which means like almost 10,000 per district if we have 32 districts. So to have 1,800, that shows a big difference in the response rate. Again, thank you for the work that you're doing, but we have work to do to push ourselves to be more anti-racist.
Thank you, Ari. Thank you so much. Next, we have Rocky Bonanno.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all again. Let's talk about school reopening in September. This question will be for VJ and any of the other CEC28 members who want to chime in and can speak about what they're doing as well. Unfortunately, I just can't trust anybody who takes a DOE paycheck. I'm not getting real answers. I'm getting a lot of spin, a lot of runaround, a lot of vagueness. So as our CEC28 members, how are all of you being involved with the different reopening plans of each school in our district? I know all of you are assigned to a specific school as a liaison. How often are you able to speak with the principal? Are you able to, I understand all the principals are doing walkthroughs through their school, evaluating the space and what they can do. Can the CEC members be a part of that? I feel that the more you guys do in the outreach of finding out what's happening in each school to prepare for the reopening, we have a better chance as parents and stakeholders here of finding out what exactly is going to happen, because you're our most direct pipeline to information. So with that, VJ and anybody else who wants to answer.
We'll take your feedback, Rocky. Thank you.
No answer?
Rocky, are you hearing us?
Yes.
Is it my screen or something? Okay.
VJ,
I said we'll take your
hear you.
feedback, so you can use your 3 minutes and give us the feedback you have to give us, please.
VJ, he has to hear from us.
I think perhaps VJ is having technical difficulties.
I am not. Is he frozen?
VJ, you hear it? You hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, no, I think the question was posed to us, but I don't know if we're answering the questions right now, if it's just a public comment portion of the meeting.
Yeah, I'm saying to Rocky that I'm sorry if you didn't hear me. I said if you could just give us your comments, we'd appreciate that. We are taking your feedback and your comments.
I think he was done. I think we need to move on to.
Okay. Next person.
I think Sharabi is next.
Okay, I'm here. So first of all, Venus asked a great question in the chat, and it needs to be answered by the CEC committee. I mean, look, here's what I'm here to say. I think that you're all doing a great job, and I appreciate it, but we're not successful with parent participation at these meetings if we're not getting representation from the southern part of the district. And that's really like of primary importance now. And you're not like getting an article in the New York Post is nice, but if it's not representative, we can't consider this a successful community meeting for the district. So I think you should answer Venus's question. If not now, then in preparation for and in the notification about the next meeting, what you're doing in terms of outreach to the southern part of the district. What I really want to say is that given the disproportionate impact of COVID, especially in New York City, on families of color, English language learners, and children with IEPs, any back to school plan that does not prioritize those populations' needs and desires is unethical and unsupportable. Furthermore, given the overwhelming evidence at this point that screens are a tool of white supremacy, any attempt to implement them in this environment, unless the families of color in our district are specifically asking for screened admissions, is also an act of white supremacy. I'm done. I don't need the rest of the time. I think you should give it to Venus.
I think we can move on to Simone Dornbach.
Okay, one moment. Hang on. I think Venus, if she wants to speak, should be able to reiterate her question, since it seems like the chat is being more or less ignored by most of the CEC. I understand you've got a lot on your plate, but there's almost 2 minutes left of my time, and if Venus wants to speak, I think she should get.
Excuse me, Shari. We run this meeting, not you. So we'll follow the order how we have the meeting here. Thank you for your comment. If you're finished, we'll move to the next person. And Venus is on the list to speak, and she will also have her time. Thank you so much. Next person.
Simone Dornbach.
Okay, I'm here. I'm first going to post something that I'm going to be referring to. I would like to comment on the 58% of Black and Hispanic students that has been used for justification to keep schools screened. That was used in the chat room in the last meeting, and the parents shared the report with me that talks about those 58%. I just posted it. It looks like parents just pulled out that number without reading the context, and worst of all, I feel like they used that number to justify to keep schools screened. You can find the data on page 2 of the report, figure 1. The data only lists Black and Hispanic students as 60% in screened high schools and 58% in screened middle schools, omitting Asians and whites. That data is on page 21. When you look closer into that table, it says on the bottom, 80% of Black and Hispanic students are in unscreened schools. And on page 3 in that very report, several paragraphs stated that Black and Hispanic students are disadvantaged. On page 21, you can clearly see the disparities. The highly sought after screened schools are predominantly located in Manhattan, and they serve over 50% white students. There is no more 58% of Black and Hispanic students. They are under 10%. The report recommends unscreening schools in District 2 because those schools attract predominantly white and Asian students and disadvantage Black and Hispanic students. They also recommend taking a more nuanced approach with screened schools that serve underprivileged students. This report, I want to mention, is from last year, pre-COVID times. And this report was written by the New School and by Inside Schools. Inside Schools happens to be a segregation driver. So let's be clear, when talking about keeping screens up, our parents in our district had no interest in helping out our fellow parents in Jamaica whose children visit those screened schools. Not one single parent brought it up. I wonder if the CEC survey even reached out to the 2 screened school communities in our district. Parents openly stated that they wanted to keep screens up so their hardworking child could attend one of the prestigious Manhattan schools. In other words, I want to keep my advantage over others so my child can benefit from a great education despite the fact that we are going through a pandemic that has been most devastating in Black and Hispanic communities. But hey, Black lives matter, sometimes. Now to the CEC. I know that you are volunteers and you have been trying very, very hard to serve our district, and I'm very thankful for that. I really want to express my thanks to you, but I'm also disappointed in you. You have shown us that you are uninformed. You worked on a misleading survey that only represented the loudest voices of our district.
Time is up.
And you failed to inform us, the parents, about screened schools and their pros and their cons. Worst of all, asking the principal of Russell Sage last time if his school is screened showed us that you did not even care to educate yourself about the screened schools in our own district. In addition, certain CEC members mischaracterized publicly one of your own CEC member when he tried to educate the public about the intention of the survey and about screened schools. I find that very disturbing. You are the CEC of all children in District 28. Please, please make sure you represent everyone, even if it might be unpopular with a northern crowd. In this particular case, you even served the children of the entire city.
The time.
And you utterly failed them. I want to see a clear commitment from CEC District 28 against anti-Black racism and a clear commitment to push every school in our district to have a culturally responsive curriculum as well as trainings for all families in anti-biases and anti-racism in place by the end of next school year. And I want you to educate yourself about our school system and about systemic racism so you can make informed decisions. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Simone. Go ahead, Elena.
Tia Kinan.
Hi, good evening. I'm a parent of a charter school, District 28 only charter school that's 95% Black and people of color, 65% Black. Our school was devastated by COVID. In my kindergartner's class of 16 students, 3 grandparents alone were lost. Our families were high percentage of essential workers. They also lost their jobs quickly, and their families were devastated with illness and death. I say this because the 95% POC students that attend this District 28 only charter come from the southern part of the district. They are coming to this charter because the schools in the southern part of the district have failed their families and they are looking for any options available. They are putting their kindergartners on buses to travel half an hour and 45 minutes in hopes of granting a slightly better education than what's offered in their zone schools. I wanted to refer back to the survey and say that I thought the survey was, while I appreciated the effort that the CEC put into the survey, that the survey was biased, reflected ill preparation in terms of the questions. And also I want to question the ethics of putting out a district-wide survey during a pandemic, when the southern part of our district was literally fighting for their lives, serving our communities as essential workers, and to put a survey on to that community during that time was unethical. And that alone should be reason to disqualify that survey. There are plenty of
1 minute warning.
There are plenty of ways that the CEC can improve that survey, but the context of releasing that survey on a community where so many in the north are white-collar workers who were working from home and sitting in front of their computers, when families in the south were fighting disease and serving the communities across New York City, I just wanted to mention that context, in addition to the flaws of the survey itself, that the timing of the survey showed a lack of understanding for what was happening in communities in the southern part of District 28.
Thank you, Tia.
I think we have Venus next.
Yippee! Good evening, everybody. Excuse me, my name is Venus Ketchum, again, community education activist, parent and community leader in Southeast Queens, Queens School District 28, 27, and 29. What I've been saying for the past 8 years is that my commitment is to closing the racial, economic, and academic achievement gap in District 28 and throughout the entire city. I am very excited to hear people share their perspectives on this call tonight. But I want to be very clear on my intent. My commitment is to empowering parents. It should be very clear. My commitment is not to control the chat, which I can do, or to have a conversation about racism, which I can do. My commitment is that 50 to 60 to 70% of our CEC meetings include Black and brown parents. That has been an issue historically since I came into the district in 2011, and nobody has done anything about it. All parents need to be empowered and informed, especially the oppressed ones who don't know how the system works, which is why their children fail. They don't know the ins and outs of this. And nobody on that council and nobody for the past 8 years has done anything to ensure that Black people are uplifted and empowered and educated. There's 10,000 reasons why they're not on the call, excuses and priorities and availability and all these other things. But what are we, all hands on deck, gonna do about that? How many people have you called? That's something I said to CECs for the past 8 years. How many personal phone calls have you made? I've spoken to at least 20 people to get on this call tonight. And there was issues with the link. There was issues with uploading stuff to Facebook, to the website. It was a hot mess. We need to learn from best practices from other districts. How can we get more Black parents on this CEC meeting every month? And who's gonna take that on? By calling schools. How many people call parent coordinators? How many people call principals? How many people call PTA presidents consistently to get them on this call and let them know that this is a priority, that they be here? More important than President's Council, more important than DLT, more important than SLT, is coming to their CEC and finding out what's happening in their community. That survey was a sham, and it didn't reflect any Black families. How many Black people were on this call when we took that survey? That was full of crap. I want to hear what the CEC is going to do to ensure that we increase the participation of Black and brown parents on these calls so that they can be empowered and informed. And stop with the excuses of why they're not. I always tell people who are teachers and educators, when you come into the system, you know that parents are not involved. If you can't do something about it, apply for another job. When you got on the CEC as a volunteer, we knew that parent involvement was the issue. VJ knew that because me and VJ were at those meetings. And who was in the audience? Just me. The only people started coming when the diversity plan was the conversation. Who? Racist, people who want to keep segregation, people who are not for integration, and people who don't want to worry about what's happening in the South and just want to keep their exclusive screen schools. And that's fine. Just keep it real. Stop pretending, oh, how can we help MS-72 get their lights? That life. All hands on deck. That's what Dr. Payne said when she came to this district. All hands on deck. Stop painting it like we want all these screened and specialized schools. You know how many Black people are running to Halsey and Russell saying because they think those good schools listed racism, targeted by school safety agents and targeted by administration? And I know I sound so upset, but I'm not upset. Again, my commitment is to parent empowerment. What can we do? What do we have to do? I'm not making excuses for them. I want to be with you. And I hope I am. We need more. We need to have at least 20, 30 Black parents on these calls every month. I'm passionate about the education of Black children. Of course, I'm passionate about the education of all children. I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood in District 25. I went to PS 154. I went to Parsons Junior High School, which is now QSI. I graduated from Jamaica High School and Hunter College. But something has to give. When you see someone down, you help them. We don't sit here and talk about being nice and being polite. If you know me, you know I'm not nice and you know I'm not polite. So please don't ever tell me what to say or what to do. I can say whatever I want to say. I don't curse. I don't insult somebody personally. My commitment is to kids. Can't nobody say that Venus is not about kids. Individual kids. You know how many families I supported one-on-one? You know how many PTA meetings I've been to? Of schools that my son doesn't attend? My son is about to go to high school, and I'm still going to be coming to these meetings for 4 more years. 4 more years. That's how much I'm going to give y'all. 4 more years. To really get this together, for me to see change in our district. We used to be number 3. Now we're on number 4 because District 30 took our spot because they've united like United Nations. All cultures came together and made stuff happen. It was great talking to you all. I hope you're inspired and motivated to get out in your community and make change.
Thank you, Venus. Thank you always for coming to all the meetings. I appreciate your presence. Go ahead, Lena. I'll call, she's not there. Raf, Lena?
Yeah, you got it. Raf, Lena is next. And then Tilly.
Thank you. Okay.
I really can't follow that. That was amazing. I just want to echo what Venus said. I think at the end of the day, you know, the CEC, again, appreciate what you're trying to do, but you should not be happy that this poorly conceived survey has now been used as a tool by elected officials and the New York Post to somehow sound like this is the consensus of the district. As you can hear from this meeting, this is the idea that screen schools and segregation are the consensus of the district is not true. Hopefully you get that loud and clear from this meeting. Shouldn't be proud of a New York Post article, be proud. You should be proud if you set up a way to hear and lift up the voices of parents and families who are hit the hardest in this borough by COVID, Black and brown voices who continuously have to deal with the relentlessness of systemic racism and school segregation. You know, for the last year, we know what this district, what the loud people in this district have done, but now it's time to listen to the people who are hurting in this district, and I hope that the CEC commits to do that. So thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Raf. Titi Yasukawa.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Great. I have 3 questions. One, I wanted to know what specifically is the CEC doing to notify electeds that they're inappropriately using the survey results? The second is what information can you share about whether school safety officers that if they're basically going to be the same former NYPD staff that are just now going to be transitioned to the DOE? And lastly, what commitments, and basically echoing what Vina said, what commitments can you make to ensure that you will reach out to and make sure that you contact and encourage engagement from every single school in this district? That's it.
Thank you, Titi. We will take
But
it.
But hold on a second. So since I still have time.
Yeah, you got time. Go ahead.
What is like, is this not the time to ask questions and get answers? Like, I can understand if you have to, you know, research something and come back because you don't know the answer. But I mean, I think I asked 3 pretty simple questions. Like, if you're saying, so is there no plan to notify the electeds that they're inappropriately using the survey? If that's the case, or if there's a plan to, then say that. Like, does anyone know the answers to the school safety NYC or NYPD to DOE question? And what, like, from the time, and it's true, I've only started to attend these meetings when the when the diversity plan kicked up. Didn't know about it. Glad that I know about it now, participating as much as I can in any meetings in the district. Like, this has been brought up. Thank you. This has been brought up so many times that Southside is not being heard. Southside is not being heard. So have you made any, like, have you as a committee discussed among yourselves what you're going to commit to? Like, I heard months ago when we met, I think it was in one of the Southside schools, and we got a big auditorium, that you still hadn't been able to reach out to all of your schools that you're each assigned to. So like, if you can give answers, or at least, you know, what the plan is and that you're gonna commit to getting answers at the next meeting, I'd like to hear that.
So Titi, this is the public comment section. I mean, we could go ahead and try to answer each question, but I don't think it's gonna be fair if we take up the time to answer questions and then we don't get other people to give their comments. Micah, you had your hand raised? You're muted, Mike.
Yeah, I just wanted to very quickly, because I understand the concept, Vijay, and I want to respond to TT's question. And I you know, there is some sort of balance here. People should get their questions answered, but people should have the opportunity to speak. In terms of school safety, that's an issue that really we're looking into, that it just came up, you know, that school safety is going to be pulled out of the NYPD and put under DOE. Now, personally, I am very suspicious of that, because is anything really going to change? But Titi, this is something that's happened in the last couple of days. I know it's a very important issue, and we're going to try to get you answers. But right now, I don't see really any difference in school safety, except that it's being transferred from under the NYPD's purview to DOE. Now, what DOE does with it is going to be a very important issue, but nothing's decided yet. Yeah, that's where we are.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next person is Roxanne.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hi.
Just speak up a little bit, Roxanne.
Can you hear me better now?
That's better, yes.
Hi. So this is my first meeting as a Black family member in this district. And I just have a few questions that I'd like to ask, very brief. Are we in agreement that we need to build a more just and equitable education system? Is the CEC in agreement with that? Yes.
Make your statement, please.
Yes or no?
Can you just make your statement, please, Roxanne?
Yes, from me.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I see a thumbs up, thumbs up. Do we agree that screen schools perpetuate segregation? Yes, okay. So do we agree that we need serious change?
Most definitely.
And the time is now. We also need to recognize the role education plays in perpetuating inequitable racist society. That's extremely important. We cannot be talking about systemic racism without be talking about education, because education and segregation in schools funds inequity. What is our commitment as a district? What is your commitment to help to eradicate this, to pull down those walls? What are we going to do about it? There's a very important question that was posted that, okay, are police officers still going to be in our schools? I'm not comfortable knowing that there are police officers who could brutalize or have biases against Black and brown children in our district. So yes, we don't have the answers right now, but what are we going to do as people who are representing our district to get the answers? Can you make a commitment today to say, yes, you don't know the answers if it's going to be ex-police officers, but you will do whatever you need to do to get those answers and get them back to the district? Can you guys commit to that? Yes? Education has played a major role in maintaining an inequitable racist society. We must reckon with the past, and we need to listen to our community. I yield my time.
Thank you so much. Next person we have is Yuri. Yuri, are you there?
I am. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, we can.
Hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing this evening?
Great. Good evening.
All right. I know it's a very contentious time. COVID, Black Lives Matter, working at home, everybody being a teacher. So I'm an educator. My wife's an educator. We have 2 young kids. I guess I'm lucky to be in a better district, a better school. Both my kids are G&T. Both scored in the 99th percentile for 3 years in a row. Never was able to get a minority spot at the citywide G&T schools for whatever reason, although they're Black and Latino in the 99th percentile. It happened to go to other minorities, although I show up at the schools, engage with the principals, call the districts, get the runaround. So there's a politics to that. Besides that issue, the one that is happening right now is one of the policing in the schools. I think that putting a new name on the same problem that exists is not going to change the results. Okay, we can be very political about this, but we have to keep the kids in the forefront and think about working with the schools and working with the community organizations and working with the court system to avert these kids from a path of being criminalized, losing their rights to vote, being charged as adults, being for teenage mistakes, for young adult mistakes. We know at that age group, 16, 17, 18, that this is when you are most impulsive. So
1 minute warning.
We don't want to penalize these kids and send them down the path or close doors to them. So working with the court systems, you can develop a program that keeps them away from the police and incarceration system, handcuffs, or anything of the sort, and use the force of the law to encourage them to engage more in education or positive behaviors. So use that as a consequence or the carrot in front of them to force them, because it's a hard issue. A lot of parents are working 2 jobs, can't keep eyes on all their kids. It's a difficult situation. As you can see, in the turnout has been an issue, the representation. So because of those things, I think we have to think about those kids and how we treat them, use the system to help in other ways that parents.
Thank you, Yuri.
can't.
Thank you, and thank you for your service as educator. We appreciate your service. Thank you. Next person we have is Siobhan.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Siobhan Jackson, and I live in Rochdale Village. My daughter did attend PS80, so Mrs. Cox is a wonderful principal. Jessica enjoyed her time going there. She just graduated from Mel's. She will continue going to Mel's in high school. And my question is about the kids returning back. They're setting up all of these safety precautions for the kids, but how do they intend to give out all of the PPE instruments to all of the students daily? And how do they expect younger students to be able to wear the mask throughout the day in school? And also, is there any plan for after school as well? A lot of parents rely on after school programs. What's going to be set in place for after school? Will there be any more after school? So that I think is a concern also that needs to be addressed. And that's all.
Thank you, Siobhan. Next person is Max. Max G-U-B-I-N, Gubin or Gobin? Max, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, I would like to say that I support plans for integration. I was just wondering what your plans are, to be more anti-racist, and what kind of plans do you have to integrate the schools? And one of the things, one of the ideas is that perhaps you can teach more Black history in schools and provide more Black authors as one way to enrich people and provide anti-racism. And I also support other parents that said that Southern districts aren't represented as much, and I just want to see more involvement to reach out to them, to be able to participate in these meetings, because they're part of this as much as we are, and their voices need to be heard. And I'd like to yield the rest of my time to Venus.
So thank you so much, Max. So we have reached the end of our speaker session. I want to thank all of you for your comments. We take notes, we take feedback, and we will discuss. Okay, someone try to share there. Okay, and we will definitely take all your feedback that we have to.
VJ?
Yes?
Chien Kwok is the next person.
Yeah, there's one more added.
There was one more added? Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi. My name is Chien Kwok. I am a District 2 parent with 2 kids in public schools, and I'm a Brooklyn Tech graduate from the 80s when there was more than 50% Black and Hispanic. That was a period of 20 years when there was over 50% Black and Hispanic. Back then, there were gifted and talented programs, or honors programs as they're also called, and what we would call screen programs now, academically rigorous programs that supported high-performing students of every school that were identified. It didn't matter what zip code people lived in. So in the past 20 years, those schools, those programs have disappeared to what it is now. We need those programs back, because that created a very integrated Brooklyn Tech and other specialized high schools. It was more than 50% Black and Hispanic in my time, and I'm shocked and upset that it's not the case today. But it's not because of purely putting people in certain schools by percentage of race. It's because kids had access to quality education in their own neighborhoods, that parents didn't need to be so involved and engaged for their kids to be able to identify and to be put into those programs, giving them a chance. The screen schools now, the academically screen schools now, are the remnants, what's left behind. The injustice is that there's certain districts that don't even have advanced academics for the high-performing Black and Hispanic kids, right? That's the racism there. But we need to give access. And the other part I want to make is something is happening between kindergarten and third grade for when kids enter school, that by third grade, there's such a big disparity in outcomes in the state test scores. Why is that? We need to have a laser sharp focus on why that is and provide all the necessary support for all the kids to achieve. At the end of the day, we want our kids to learn, be good at math, be good at English and writing, so they can get great careers and great jobs. We're not doing that right now. Right now, only 30% of Black and Hispanics are grade level proficient. That is wrong. That is racism. That outcome is racist. But we have to find out what's happening and provide all the supports and all the access to the great programs that all
1 minute warning.
20 years ago. Okay, and get back the integrated Brooklyn Tech, the special high schools, and all the schools with high academics. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We just have one speaker, Lorraine Reed. Lorraine Reed.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, I'm gonna make it really quick. I wanna say I agree, and thanks to all the speakers that have spoken. I am in agreement with everything. Let me just quickly go down what I have to say. The school survey, it is skewed and it is misleading, and I believe whoever created the school survey needs to address those using the results of the survey, let them know that those results are flawed before they make any decision that affects our schools here in the South. That's the first thing. Secondly, I want to address the school police. I understand that we don't have any concrete ideas or answers as to how that school police transition is going to work from the NYPD to the DOE. However, I do believe it is important that if this transition is going to become permanent or final, that we take a long, hard look, or whoever makes these decisions, that these police, if they're going to hire ex-police or current police or whoever they are, that they are not the ones that walked off the job or resigned from their jobs because they objected to the protests because they are not allowed to brutalize or beat Black or brown people anymore. Those police should not be hired into the DOE to police any school in our district. The building, another thing I want to address is the building that for my school, it's 3 schools in one building. I would like to find out who is going to be dealing with addressing the parents collectively on how the transition and the cleaning is going to go regarding that building, because they do share spaces like the cafeteria, the gym, the auditorium. So how is that cleaning and that shared space going to go when the children have to transition into the lunchroom or so on and so forth? Lastly, I want to talk about cultural education as it pertains to the educational system.
1 minute warning.
I have seen where our educational system is pretty much structured on empowering white supremacy. And I feel it is unfair that from the children begin school and they can do history or social studies, they have always been taught about the European history, the Chinese history, and all of the history except the African history. And how can children be empowered to love themselves or want to improve themselves if they're being taught that their history begins in slavery? I would like to know who is structuring the new curriculum as it pertains to empowering or changing the way things are being taught in the school. And do parents get to play a part in changing how the curriculum is done? Because even if you change the curriculum, how is it going to be changed to empower our students to want to make themselves better? Because I feel it's unfair that every year after year, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they're being taught the repetition. and it's being beaten into them. Chinese history, European history, the Spanish War, the Renaissance, German history, the Holocaust, but we never hear them talk about the transatlantic trade. We never yet hear them talk about the Zulu nation, the Ashanti,
Thank you so much.
all the great civilizations. So these are my issues with what's going on today. And mostly I want someone to address how that transition with the school, the buildings that house multiple schools and multiple children in our district. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So community members, thank you so much for your time and your patience today. We have a quick poll that we'd like to see. This is not going to be used for any reporting. So you feel free to announce this or whatever if you want, but I think it would be a great way to see how other district members are also feeling about school, about returning to school. So we're gonna have this poll just to see how you feel about school, returning to school, about attending classes back. And if the concern, again, feel free to answer it. You don't have to answer it, and you will see the results right here. So you can put it up at this point when you get a chance, please.
I'll put it up.
Thank you.
You guys see it on the screen?
Yes.
Great.
So we'll just give everyone maybe a minute more to fill it out. There's 5 questions if you wish to.
You guys see it on my screen?
I'm not getting it on my screen, VJ.
You might have a little button at the top of your screen that says poll in progress, at least on my iPad.
Okay, so I stopped sharing. I just wanted to share with you guys the results as they're coming in. I stopped sharing, so you guys.
Yeah, can we wait till it's finished and we could just share it, please?
But I didn't answer any questions. So how
Yeah,
click on the poll in progress button if you have that on your screen.
Thank you, Ted.
I don't see it.
I have it on my screen, but I don't know if everyone else has the same.
Is anyone else having issues?
I'm just curious why we couldn't pick multiple answers.
I guess it's the most concerning, so pick one.
Barbara, were you able to get it?
About 60% of you have completed it.
Yeah, so we'll just give it to a few more minutes, a minute more. So because I think some people are not filling it out, which is fine. So huge lag is frozen, as Tina said.
The age of technology, huh?
And this is not going to be reported anywhere. This is just for us as a community, for us, each other to see how other parents are thinking, how we all thinking, and just for you to see where you stand on it. That this is not about a reporting to anybody. It's not going to be quoted anywhere. This is just for us as a community to just communicate this way.
If you're logged in on your desktop, there's a button called polls. So you could click on that and then the poll will pop up on your screen. Some of you have touch screens. If you have a poll in progress, it's a little tiny thing on the top of your screen. If you click on that, it should pop up as well.
What's the response So far, Elena, we're not expecting 100%.
61% voted, 51 out of 83 participants.
Okay. So I think it's fair enough that we can just go ahead and just share the results at this point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is anybody still working on it? Do you want me to wait before I end the poll? All right, ending the poll.
Thank you, Elena. Did we lose Barbara?
Yes, she left. She got left out. Please let her back in.
Let her back in here. What happened? Maybe she got bumped out. Yeah.
All right, I'm sharing the results.
So the first question was, will you send your child or children to school, to attend school for in-person instruction in fall 2020? And 56% said yes of parents here. 44% said no. What is most concerning to you if students are asked to return to school in fall 2020? 40% of you here said hygiene. 10% of you said vaccine. 29% of you said social distancing. 17% said access to masks and personal protective equipment. And 6 of you said not worried at all. And then number 3 was, do you feel kids returning to school will improve their social emotional well-being? 71% of you said yes, and 29% of you said no. Parents should make the ultimate decision about whether their child or children goes back to school, goes back to in-person learning in school buildings. 90% of you said yes, parents should decide that, and 10% of you said you disagree with that. In regards to student instruction, my preference currently for my child or children in fall 2020 is 6% of you said remote learning at home without live instruction. 27% of you said remote learning at home with live instruction. 37% of you said part-time remote learning at home and part-time in-person school in the building instruction. And 31% of you said full-time in-person instruction in the building. So we can close the poll at this time.
Do we need to save results, or is it going to save it automatically?
We don't want to resave this. This is not something that we reported. It's just as for each other, us as a community on this call,
yep,
get a consensus for each other, right? It's not a official poll. So I just want to address a few things. Dear CEC28, thank you all for your comments. Thank you all for all of your questions and your remarks. I'm sure Dr. Pei took a lot of notes also. We are in this phase where we are taking your feedback and we're learning, right? This is the first time ever CEC28 ever did a survey that we know of. A lot of CECs didn't even do a survey. They just went ahead and made a statement for their district without even getting any consensus from their district residents. We felt that it was important to at least try to get residents, our district residents, their opinions about screen schools. The survey was sent out once. After the results, we realized that there were like 6 or 8 schools across the district that did not receive the survey. Yes, the council agreed again to send back out the survey to those specific schools to again accommodate those schools and those areas that did not get response. Now, myself is South also. And we have been doing the best that we know how to, and we want to welcome your opinions and your feedback of how to do it better. This is what we will listen to your voices. One of the things that we did this year for CEC28 was, for the first time ever in the history of CEC28, we went around the entire district. COVID stopped us, but we had CEC meetings across the district at different schools. We did that. And again, that was an attempt to increase Southern voices, parents from the South. Many of the members, or many of my colleagues on this panel, one thing that they said when they came on this panel, on this CEC, they said, we want to increase parents on the South voice representation across issues. And we are trying. Do we have all the answers? No. But please, write us, send us emails, give us ideas. Venus, you gave us a great idea today. You said, call the parent coordinators, call the PA presidents. They're sending it out. I know I called my president for my school, and she and her team sent it out today. I called my PA, and they sent it out. So I think that is one great feedback. We're not against feedback. We want feedback, but give it to us. We will listen to your voices. And I want to say also to all of you, yes, Black lives does matter. It does matter, okay? And, you know, we have to be proud of who we are and work together as a district. We are one District 28. With that, I want to thank all of you for being here today. July, Crystal, can you remind me the date, please? July, is it 8th for the district planning?
July 9th.
July 9th, you have that flyer with you?
Yes, I sent it to Elena's email.
Okay, then do you have it up there? District planning for District 28 will be having a special meeting with us on July 9th. Again, here's a place where you can come into this meeting. We'll be discussing about the district planning for this area here with the district planning for DOE. This is a meeting they have annually, and we're going to be having this meeting on the 9th. So please, please, please do come on board, come there. We will try to, you know, encourage you all to be present to all these meetings. And we are doing our part, right? We have an administrative assistant. She's doing a great job in terms of reaching out to all the schools, trying to get their new members' information so we can send out all these notifications. There it is. Thank you so much. Can you scroll down, please, Elena? Okay, Office of District Planning consultation with, here it is, with DCC for 21-2022 school year, identify needs and priorities for District 28, and collaborate to develop and propose important school changes. So please be there, present for the meeting. We'll appreciate that. We'll continue to learn, we'll continue to build, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future for our meetings. At this time, I will adjourn this meeting. I don't think there's anything else. Dr. Pate, do you have anything to add? Sorry, you can stop sharing, Elena.
It's fine. It's fine.
Thank you. Yeah.
I do want to thank everyone for the participation on tonight. Here's this transparency thing again. It's really very difficult to hear and to Jay's point to see the chat as it rolls out, but I do absolutely affirm this right to voice opinions and our thoughts and our advocacy, and so I commend everyone on doing the same. I have personally wrote down quite a few questions because I have to be among those who have answers with regard to how we're outreaching, with regard to the removal of school safety agents or the renaming and realigning for within our schools. I can tell you this, which solves a problem and creates a problem. I can tell you this, that once a person is a Department of Education employee, our oversight increases exponentially. And so if, like myself, you are an advocate of equity and understand the dynamic of over-policing our students, then I have an incredible purview over what happens in every school. And so it's those kinds of things. So I'm happy to, feel free to email us or have a conversation. I'm gonna ask Sonia to work with me to help us to ensure that every voice is represented in this space. You are 100% correct. CEC should represent the entirety of the district, and we have to get a bit more sweaty with regard to making sure that that happens. I thank every single one of you for everything that you have put forward to share, those things that have challenged us to get better at leadership, and also the way you have helped us to ensure that we are engaging in the right way across the district. So thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight. We are grateful for your time and your space and sharing this space with you. Again, we always have different opinions. We are going to continue to have different opinions, and I welcome your voices. Please always come to our CEC meeting and express your voices and concerns. We are listening, and we'll continue to try to do our best. And if we're not doing our best, definitely, hold us accountable and tell us, hey, we need to see this, we need to see that. we will definitely do our best and try to be better as what we do. So thank you. And at this time, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:40 p.m. Thank you so much. And you can unmute. Just so you know, we are not closing off this meeting. You are welcome to stay on this meeting because we're going to transition right now over to the annual election of the council to elect council president, vice president, second vice president, etc. now for the next year. So you are welcome to stay on board to this, but this is a part where there's no public comment for that. It's just something the CEC has to do. It's the same link right here, right now, but you're also welcome to leave if you like. So I will definitely at this point, I'll hand it over to Crystal.
Hello.
Hello.
So, so to begin, we're going to start with the script. So the first thing that, can you scroll down a bit, Elena? The second page.
Okay.
Okay. So just a quick outline on what's going to happen today. So first, we're going to start with the highest ranking officer to choose a pro tem. So this person is someone that's not going to be running for any official position. Their sole purpose here is to conduct the electing of the president. Now, once the president is elected, he can then proceed to finish out the meeting, finish out the elections, or the pro tem can, as long as they're not running for a seat. Now, on the second page here, this is the full script. So you're just gonna go down the line, right? Everything there is pretty straightforward. And then, let's see here. And then we're going to repeat the same thing for the next position. So first vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Now, does anyone have any questions so far?
Council members, you can unmute yourself, council members.
On my phone and this cut off. Crystal, I have a question.
Sure.
So the pro tem, the chair pro tem, does the chair pro tem serve throughout the whole meeting as long as that person is not running for any office, or is it just as long as the pro tem is not running for president?
Right. So if you're running for any type of position, if you're running for a president, then you shouldn't be the pro tem, right? Whomever is, once the president is elected, the president can choose to conduct the rest of the elections or just have the pro tem do it, provided they're not running for the seat that they want. So if you want treasurer, you shouldn't be conducting the election of treasurer.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, so I'm not participating in this. This is just a quick outline. So to start, VJ, this script here, I don't know if you want to familiarize yourself with it first, or if you have not, we're just gonna go straight down the line here on this page.
Can you scroll up? So do you have to scroll up, please?
Oh, yeah. So
it is now time. This time here. So I'll read the first part on top. Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. So do I call this meeting into order now, Paula?
I don't think you can because you're gonna run as a president. Or
no, he can. No, he can call the meeting to order as the highest ranking officer. He calls the meeting to order and runs the election for the chair pro tem. That's all he does.
Correct. Okay.
Because once the chair pro tem takes over, then he or she is doing the president election.
Okay. And I do the roll call and I also read that Article 2 part.
Yep. Right. Yes.
Let's go for it. Okay. So what time is it now? I have to see.
8:45.
8:45. Okay. So the time now is 8:45, and this meeting of Community Education Council number 28 will come to order. My name is Vijay Ramjat, and I am convening the annual meeting for the purpose of electing officers. So I'll do the roll call at this time.
Here.
I have the names here. It is. So
let's try to get out of here by midnight, okay?
Barbara Williams.
I'm here. I'm having problems with my internet. So if you guys don't hear me, I'm here.
We hear you, Barbara.
Robert Tamayev.
I'm here.
Elena Amanova.
Here.
Andy Medes King. Andy Medes King.
He's here, but he's probably not.
We have to hear him.
Listening. Andy?
He's muted and probably gone somewhere. I don't know. I'm having problems too.
Andy Medes King.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, he's here because we're seeing him, but is he here? He's here, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is the virtual world, so what happens, right? So, do we see him there? He's there in the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the meeting.
All the members agree he's in the meeting, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we see him.
Okay. Can someone call him separately on the side and tell him that we need his attention here, please? I'll appreciate that.
I don't see him either.
Okay, can someone volunteer to do that, please?
I think Crystal's in.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Okay, Erica Cooper.
Present.
Ted Chang.
Here.
Michael Morrison.
Here.
Howard Pollock.
Present.
Vijay Ramjatan, present. So Article 2, Section 2 of the Council's bylaws requires that officers be elected by roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 6 votes, CCHS 7. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for office in the election she or he is chairing. Since the first election is for the president, the chair pro tem cannot run for president. Office of the president is elected. Once the president is elected, he or she can take over running the election from the chair pro tem. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? We will accept self-nominations. Unmute. Can you unmute yourself and say something?
No, please.
Yes, I would like to place my name in nomination for Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you. So nominations for Chair Pro Tem. Okay, anyone else? We have to do something.
I second that.
Okay, so.
Howard, not myself.
Okay. So I just want to make sure, Andy Medes King,
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. We're doing elections, so we need to be present. I'll appreciate it. Okay, so nominations for Chair Pro Tem are now closed, and we'll proceed to a vote for Chair Pro Tem. So all in favor of, okay, now vote by showing your hands or roll call if the platform used as.
Oh, you can turn on the light.
Can you scroll down, please?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so at this point now, that's good. So can we, by show of hands, can we, do we have to vote for the pro tem? Paula, say yes, we agree?
Yeah, for that one we can.
Okay, so let's see, all in favor of the pro tem, let's say yes. Let's say yes so we can hear you because it's a virtual world, so we can.
Yes.
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Robert?
Oh, look, Andy raised his hand. I like that. There's the technical.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to hear each person say yes so it can be recorded. Sorry. All in favor of, all who vote for Robert to be the pro tem. Barbara?
No, not Robert. Howard.
I'm sorry, Howard Pollock. Barbara, you agree? Yes? No?
I can't hear Barbara.
Are you seeing her?
I see her.
Is she giving a thumbs up?
Yes. She's raising her full body.
Robert Tamayev?
I'm
here. Sorry. I was thrown off for a while. What's the question?
The question, so council members, can we please for this process. You're making it difficult by going in and out. Barbara, I know you can't help it, so thank you for trying. We're asking each one of you to say yes if you agree for Howard Pollock to be the pro tem of the election. So, Barbara Williams, you agree?
Yes.
Thank you. Robert Tamayev.
Yeah.
Elena Amenova.
Yes.
Andy Meadows King.
Yes.
Erica Cooper.
Yes.
Ted Chang.
Yes.
Michael Morrison. Michael Morrison, sorry.
Yes.
Vijay Ramjan, yes. So at this point, here we say is now, so we have elected a pro tem, and his name is Howard Pollock. So Howard, take it over from me, please. Oh, congratulations, Howard Pollock has been elected to serve as chair pro tem and will conduct the election officers for 2020-2021.
I'm now reading.
Yes.
Elect officers. We will vote upon each position. We're moving on to the next, so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I'm used to reading to my kids. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nomination. Nominations do not need to be seconded. If a member is not present, but has submitted his or her nomination in writing to our administrative assistant or another member, he or she will be treated the same way as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Like, for example, John Doe and Jane Smith, my friends, are running for president. On the roll call, each member will vote for either John or Jane. The council must not vote first on John and then Jane. So in other words, we vote simultaneously. Members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes, we will vote by show of hands on whether to do a second round or proceed to the elections for the next office. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of the following month's calendar meetings until all the positions are filled. Is the procedure clear to all the members?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Love the chat. First, we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the office of president? The chair recognizes CEC member Elena Amenova.
No, I am nominating VJ.
Remember, these do not need to be seconded. Is there another nomination for president of the CEC?
VJ.
Oh, VJ. Hearing no other nominations, I will call for a vote on VJ becoming president again of our CEC 28. Now, apparently, I will call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. But that's right now, correct? Sorry. Crystal, are you ready with a timekeeping roll?
Yes, I am. Just 1 second.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Did your proper speech, VJ?
All right. I'm ready to go when you are.
VJ, you are the only person in nomination for president. You have 2 minutes to make a statement. Time begins now.
Thank you all for the nomination. I am honored to have served as president for this past year with your assistance, your leadership, your fellow leadership, and more importantly, your feedback. I cannot do what I do by no shortness of the word. It hasn't been easy. It's a big commitment. It's a big plate, shoes to fill, but I couldn't have filled myself without the support of all of you. And if elected, I will continue to rely on each of you for your continued support and leadership. And like I did in the past year, I will continue to listen to the parents of our district, all parents. The least I can do is give each person a platform to speak and to have their piece said. But I have to always remember, as a parent of 3 beautiful kids in this district, I am representing my children alone, or any one district or one area of our district or one school. I am president for the entire district of the 28. So thank you.
Thank you, VJ. We have to do a vote. So we're going to proceed with a roll call vote. I will ask our administrative assistant to call the names of our CEC members who will vote.
Okay. First, Elena.
Yes.
Ted.
Yes.
Barbara.
No, I mean yes.
Andy. Andy.
Yes.
All right. Howard. Oh, I'm sorry. Micah.
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
And Robert.
Yes.
Paula, does the pro tem vote too?
No.
All right. So
Oh, wait, no, wait. Yes, it's a member. And now there's pro tem. They vote as members.
Got it. So,
All right.
thank you.
Then, as I'm the last vote, I vote yes, making it unanimous. And I will now say, congratulations, VJ. You have been elected to serve a continuing role as our president for 2020-2021. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor.
So now, Howard, you can either continue as long as you're not running for a seat, or VJ can take over.
I would ask VJ to take over, please.
Thank you. So where is it? Here. Once election has, where am I? Over here now.
We have to repeat the whole process. So I
Yeah.
Go back to the top.
Right.
So the next one now is first vice president, correct?
You don't have to read all of that. Go down. So where it says we will elect the council president, so now you say now we will elect the first vice president.
Here it is. So please. Okay, so now we will elect the first vice president for CEC28. Are there any nominations for the office of
Barbara?
Of president?
Barbara.
Sorry, so we had Andy made us king. You said Barbara Williams?
Yes.
Howard, you said?
I said Barbara too, but Andy beat me to it.
Anyone else? Are there any other nominations for or self-nominations for office of first vice president? Okay, so now I will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. This part of office of first vice president nominations for that office are now closed. I will now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of 2 minutes. The AA will be a timekeeper. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with a roll call vote. So Barbara, you are the sole nominated person. Do you accept?
I do.
Okay, do you have 2 minutes to make a statement, please? It starts now.
So I would like to say thank you all for nominating me again. It was a pleasure advocating for our children this year, and it would be a pleasure continuing to advocate for all children of District 28. Thank you.
Okay, can you scroll down?
Okay. So.
And congrats. Okay, not yet. So
not yet.
I do a roll call. So go ahead, Crystal.
All right. Elena.
Yes.
Ted.
Ted.
Yes.
All right. Angie. Angie? Okay. I'll come back to him. Micah.
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
Robert.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Andy.
I don't know where Andy is.
I think we can move on because we need only 6.
Yeah. So it says here you need at least 6 votes.
I didn't vote.
Oh, who am I missing?
DJ.
DJ, I'm sorry.
I'll try to beat Howard's yes. Yes!
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
There you go. She beat my yes.
There you go. That's a yes, sir.
Okay. Andy? Is he gone?
I don't see him anymore.
I don't see him anymore.
Did you have 6?
Well, we have enough votes for you.
Have
Bob.
8.
Okay, so congratulations, Barbara Williams. You have been elected to serve as Council's first Vice President for 2020-2021.
Thank you.
So scroll back up again, please.
My goodness.
Okay, here it is. Go back down one more. So nominations for the office of second. Okay, so now we'll elect the council's second vice president. Are there any nominations for the office of second vice president?
I nominate Micah.
Robert, since Robert don't want it, I nominate Erica.
I would like. Oh, I'd like to make a statement. Okay.
Yeah, 1 second, please. 1 second, please.
I'll nominate Howard.
Oh my gosh, it's 3 nominations.
Okay, you don't.
Okay.
I just say you don't
Okay,
have to
guys.
second, but you have to accept if you're not
Right.
nominating somebody.
Barbara, thank you, but I respectfully reject.
Okay.
Okay. So now we move. So now, are there any other nominations for second vice president? Okay, nominations for the office of.
BJ?
Yes.
I respectfully decline the nomination. I thank you, Elena, but I respectfully decline. Thank you.
So now nominations for the office of second vice president are now closed. I will give each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The AA will keep time. All candidates will have spoken. See to a 1 second. Can you scroll up, please?
Yeah, on the bottom.
No, the thing is blocked because the comments thing is showing up with a roll call vote. So at this time, we have Michael, you're the sole person who has been nominated. I will give you 2 minutes at this time.
I am honored to be nominated. I'm a little concerned about, because of my public work, about conflicts of interest and whether a nomination will get you in trouble and get me in trouble. So I'm not sure I should accept. I'd also like to add that I've worked very closely with Erica Cooper this year, and I respect her work on with the other committees and with the principals and her dedication. And I would like her to reconsider our nomination to be second vice president. And I would like to nominate, second motion, nominate Erica to be second vice president.
So do you accept Micah or do you not accept?
I do not accept at this time.
Thank you. So do we have any other nominations or self-nominations for the office of second vice president? Micah, now you can say that.
I do not accept the nomination, but I would like to nominate my friend and colleague, Erica Cooper. Again, I have seen her working with the community. I have seen her dedication, and I've seen her work with the principals. I think she'd bring a lot to the table. I'm also aware that without talking out of school, that I do believe this is Erica's last opportunity for another position, because her child will be aging out of this process. I'm not
Thank you,
positive
Micah.
about that, but I would like to nominate Erica.
I will second that nomination.
And now
You need to second the nomination. But again, I thank you. I thank my colleagues. But at this time, there is another office that I do want to apply for. So therefore, I cannot accept this position. But thank you.
Okay. So are there any other nominations for the office of second vice president?
I nominate Elena.
I second.
I second.
There's no
Or
second.
third or fourth that.
Yes, there's no second. She just has to accept.
I'll accept.
Functional.
Oh, she accepted.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
Okay, so I have to ask her on the record. Elena, do you accept or decline that nomination?
I accept.
So now, Elena, I'll give you 2 minutes to make a statement. Your 2 minutes starts now.
You ready, Crystal?
Go ahead.
It starts now.
Did you want to make a statement?
Yeah, she's going to.
So I am happy to be here, District 28, and appreciate the nomination. I tried to spice it up and make it fun, and I guess it turned all around. I wanted to see if we all start nominating each other. Definitely enjoyed this year. Definitely enjoyed playing the AA role while we didn't have AA. So definitely enjoy you being here, Crystal, and being your recording secretary. I will do whatever needs to be done this year to be the advocate for District 28. I love District 28, and that's why I brought my daughter back. My 2 kids have graduated, well, my 1 kid graduated this year from District 28, attended all schools from District 28. My second son is now in high school, and my daughter is back in District 28 middle school. I'm excited to be here and serving the community. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now we'll move to a vote. Crystal, are you ready? Crystal.
Sorry about that. Ted,
Are you ready? Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm ready.
What's going on? I'm sorry.
We are voting for Elena's second vice president position.
Yes.
Okay. Barbara?
Yes.
Okay. Micah?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, the voice is changing.
Yeah.
You have a
Did you say-
spokesperson.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And Andy. Andy. BJ.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Well,
Congratulations, Elena Amenova. You have been elected to serve as council second vice president for 2020-2021 school year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we'll move to secretary. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. So now, we'll move to. Thank you.
I'm trying here. That's why I don't have a position anymore, right?
Now we'll move to the office of secretary. No, scroll up. Yeah, so now we'll elect the council secretary. Are there any nominations for the office of secretary?
I nominate Erica.
I accept.
I second.
I third.
No second.
I second anyway.
Is there any? I fourth. I third. Sorry. Are there any other nominations or self-nominations for secretary?
I'm curious why you won it.
Make a speech.
Let her make a speech.
Stop.
Okay, so here we go. At this point, can you? Where's the part where I close it off? Can you scroll down, Elena?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, nominations for the office of secretary is now closed. I will give each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The AA will keep the timekeeper. And after all candidates have spoken, we will proceed to a roll call vote. This time, we ask, Erica, do you accept or you decline?
I happily accept.
And your 2 minutes starts now, Erica.
Okay, thank you. I just want to first say thank you to my colleagues, my CEC members. It's been a great year. I kind of sat back and watched, and I was learning through this whole process. And at this point, I felt that I listened to what the parents said. I heard them. I understand our parents in this district. Not only am I a parent from the South Side with a child, I also know how important it is about transparency. And I understand the importance of our South Side district that wasn't being heard. And I feel as a secretary holding that position, I heard what Bina said. I want to know. I want to do things so that we can get the word out, so we can hear from other parents and we can get more involvement. One of the, I still got time?
Yes, go for it.
Oh, yeah. One of the things I want to say is because I've been going to the CEC meetings from prior to before I became on the council members, and it wasn't that many parents' involvement. It wasn't until the diversity came up that we started to see more parents come. And it is more parents from the north side. So it wasn't a thing where the south side parents weren't coming. None of the parents were really coming. You could count the numbers on hand. So we need to get that involvement going, and that's what I would like to do this year.
Thank you for that speech, Erica. So this time we'll have the votes. Go ahead. Crystal, can you start, please?
Yes. Elena?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Angie? Micah?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Woo!
Good job, Howard. Okay, so congratulations, Erica Cooper. You have been elected to serve as council secretary for school year 2020-2021.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Last but not least, we have, can you scroll for, okay, there it is. First, we will elect the council. So now we will elect the office of treasurer. So are there any nominations for office of the treasurer?
I nominate Andy Metis King.
Andy?
Andy.
Oh,
is Andy in the waiting room? Can you check, please?
No, I removed the waiting room so everybody can come in.
Okay.
He said he's kicked out and he's not getting through.
I believe that. That's what happened to me earlier.
I don't have any restrictions on.
All right, I'm gonna text him and let him see.
Andy.
Aw, she said Andy. So cute.
You can't keep me here because I wasn't under 60.
What's the status? Okay, so if Andy can't, so Andy can't, so Andy, okay, baby.
And
you accept or decline, I will go ahead and nominate Ted Chang.
Didn't decline, VJ. He can't get in, so we don't know what his thoughts are.
Yeah, I don't want to take it because if Andy wants it, he should do it. But yeah, he texted me like 10 minutes ago and said he was having trouble getting through.
I know. I'm trying to communicate with him right now. He didn't decline, so you have to wait a second.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I missed that. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Come, Nigel. Be careful.
Are there Zoom issues in general? I don't know.
Wasn't his internet funny?
Spotty, yeah.
Crystal, can you call him back how you did it last time?
Yeah, sure.
I'm calling him.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara.
No problem.
Go hold her and see if she's okay. Go hold her and see if she's okay. Go see if she's okay.
I don't know. He's not answering. Oh, he's calling me back. Hold on.
I texted him and asked him if he accepts nomination for treasurer, and he says yes. But I don't know if he can get back in.
So, can he call in? Is there a number to call in? There's a telephone number. He can call in.
He just texted yes.
Okay. Andy, I'm gonna put you in speaker, okay?
No hush.
All right, so Andy's on speaker, VJ.
Andy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so I just want to go back and recap really quickly. So do you agree for the rest of the board voted to have Barbara Williams, you agree, you were there for Barbara Williams, right? To be vice president. But then the rest of the board voted again to have Elena Amanova as second vice president. How do you vote?
I vote, yes, I support that.
Then we voted to have Erica Cooper as a secretary. How do you vote?
Yes, I support that.
And then you were nominated by Howard to be treasurer. Do you accept or decline?
Okay, I accept it. I accept.
You accept, okay. Are there any other nominations for Andy, for treasurer?
No.
Okay, so at this time, nominations for the office of treasurer are now closed. I will call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The AA will be the timekeeper. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with a roll call vote. Crystal, take it away.
Oh, the statement. Who's making their first statement? Andy or
Andy. Andy made a statement. Your statement starts now.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say thanks to everyone on the board. You guys have done a wonderful job. I mean, I really appreciate it. The passion of coming on this board is because of my personal experience of what I've been going through. Guys, I want to say I would like to be very apologetic for not bringing up what I was going through with my children then, because they go to predominantly white schools. And the racism that I've met and the treatment that I've met at those schools is, I really don't want no other African American or Hispanic family to go through what I've been through with both of my children, having the ACS and the police coming surrounding my house for my kids, that things that I know nothing about. I have to take a lawyer right now and fighting that. And remember, school is closed since March, and nobody saw my children. So to make an allegation against that, the amount of times that I had to go to the school to Louis Armstrong, I had to take lawyers. They fabricate so many stories, so many lies, calling me out of my bed, sleeping, to come down to the school with my daughter. You guys don't know, but that is the reason that motivated me to go to the city.
30 seconds.
I will be transparent. I decided to take my daughter out of public school because of the experience. I will still be on the board to fight for children in public school, but because of my personal experience, I have to take my daughter out of the public school system and send her to a private school because I'm just totally fed up. I've been through so much. So thanks again for your support, VJ. You're a very good motivator. Barbara, I love you.
Time.
I love you too, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, so now we'll move. So now I'll call. Okay, here we go. We'll vote. Go ahead, Crystal.
No, now Ted makes a statement.
Okay, Andy, they
guys are so wonderful. I want to say thank you.
No, I didn't accept the nomination.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. All right. Okay, so now we'll go to a vote for Andy. Elena.
Yes.
Ted.
Yes.
Barbara.
Yes.
Micah.
Yes.
Robert.
Yes.
Howard.
Enthusiastic, yes.
All right. And VJ.
Yes.
Erica, yes.
Oh, and Erica. I'm sorry. And Erica. And Erica. So that's 7.
Who are we missing?
Andy.
No, but there was
Well,
there.
he can't vote for himself.
So you should have 8 people, no?
Robert. Who we said? Elena,
Did you vote?
Barbara, Robert, Howard, VJ, and Erica.
Elena.
Barbara, Elena.
Oh, she.
You should have votes.
Erica?
Elena.
Yeah, I said yes.
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 Robert?
She did.
No, you can't go. You don't have to pull the button in. Up.
Did you get Robert and Erica?
I voted.
Yeah.
I said
Yes.
yes.
I got
You
everything.
should have 8 votes, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Elena, Ted, yeah, I have 8. Yes. Erica.
Yeah, there you go. 8. Okay,
8.
great. Oh, so congratulations, Andy Mealis King. You have been elected to serve as council treasurer for school year 2020-2021.
Andy, you listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. Because I hear you talking in the back. Go ahead.
So what time is it now? Sorry, somebody.
9:23.
Can you read
9:26.
23.
23.
So so now that all the offices has been filled, this annual meeting is adjourned at 9:23 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay, Andy. So you're gonna try to log into the business meeting. I'm gonna cut you off. Okay. All right. Bye bye. Love you.
So do we go right into the business meeting?
No, I just want to congratulate everybody. Thank you all for staying on for the vote. So we have congratulations to Barbara Williams as first vice president. Congratulations. Then we have Elena Amenova as second vice president. We have Erica Cooper as secretary, and we have Andy Mealis King treasurer, and myself, Vijay Ramjan, as president. And we have our able and amazing team with us: Howard Pollock, Micah Morrison, Elena, Ted Chang, and who am I missing?
And
Robert Tamayev. I don't see the bird. That's why. Robert Tamayev.
The bird is asleep.
The bird. What's the bird?
Bird is the word.
Okay, so this meeting is adjourned. To all of our parents and community members who stayed on for this election, thank you so much. Now we will end this meeting, and then we will start in this 9:24. Let's come back at 9:34. That's 10 minutes. Is okay? Too long.
Yes.
Too long.
Too long? Okay, let's come back at
9:30.
9:30.
9:30.
Start our business meeting. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Dr. Page, you were
Thank you,
there.
Dr.
Okay.
Page. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Hi, Sonia. How are you?
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Dr.
I knew
Page.
you guys were there. Okay, hi. Dr. Page, you were there.
Good night, everyone. I had to stay to make sure, I got the list.
Me too. It was actually
everyone.
was really good.
Take care,
Sonia,
everybody.
you train us well. Thank you.
Yeah, I kept thinking that. I said, wow, I'm so proud of you guys. Have a good night.
Follow the process correctly.
Beautiful.
Good night.
Okay, bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.